Okay, so what is management? Now there are so many definitions of management. Of those, Peter Drucker defines management as management is an organ. Okay, an organ can be described and defined only through their functions. Is what Peter F. Drucker says. Okay, then Henry Fayol, who Henry Fayol, he defined management as it is to manage, is to forecast and plan, to organize, to compound, to coordinate, and to control. Funny, right? Then Harold Kuhns, he defined management is the art of getting things done, of getting things done, and within formally organized group. Okay, now what we can say? There are three levels of management. Let us see levels of management. What are the levels of management? It is like this. Okay, this part is top management. This is middle management, and this is lower management. What do you mean by top management? It consists of board of directors, chief executive, or managing director. Okay, the top management is the ultimate source of authority and it manages goals and policies of an enterprise. It devotes more time on planning, okay, and coordination or coordinating functions. It appoints the executive for middle level. It appoints the executive for middle level. It prepares strategic plans and policies for the enterprise. Now, middle level. This one. What does it do? It is a branch manager and departmental managers constitute middle level. They are responsible to the top management for the functions of their department. Okay, they devote more time to organizational and functional or directional functions. And if there is what we say small organization, then there is only one layer of middle level of management. Now, some functions of this middle management are like designing and implementing effective group and intergroup work and informing systems. Okay, defining and monitoring group level performance indicators and all. Then we have lower management. Lower management is also known as supervisory or operative level of management. What do you call it? Supervisory or operative level of management. Or we can also say it is first level of managers. Its job can be like assigning jobs and tasks to first level managers to various workers. And these first level managers are role models for employees that provide basic supervision, motivation, career planning, performance feedback, okay, supervising the staff, and it is done by the lower management. Now, what is or what are the roles of a manager? roles of a manager. There was one person called Henry Milsberg. Okay, he identified 10 different roles and separated into three categories. Okay, those categories are like interpersonal, what was it? Three categories. First is interpersonal roles. These are the ones that, like the name suggests, involve people and other ceremonial duties. It can be further classified like uh, leader, figurehead, license. Now, this leader is responsible for staffing, training, and associated duties. He builds relationships with subordinates and communicates with, motivates, and coaches them. This figurehead, okay, is symbolic head of the organization, as the name suggests, figurehead. Okay, he performs symbolic duties of a legal or social nature. Now, license, this one. License maintains the communication between all contracts and informers that compose the organizational network, maintains networks of contacts outside the work unit who provide help and information. Okay, the second one is informational rules. Informational rules. These are like relating to collecting, receiving, and disseminating information. So they can be classified as monitor, disseminator, spokesperson. Okay, now this monitor, he personally seek and receive information to be able to understand the organization. In this role, you regularly seek out information related to your organization and industry, looking for relevant changes in the environment. You also monitor your team in terms of both their productivity and well-being. Okay. Now disseminator. Here, he or she transmits all input information received from outsiders to the members of the organization. Okay. Now spokesperson. On the contrary to these two roles, here the manager transmits the organization's plans, policies, and actions to outsiders. Okay. Now, third is decisional roles. Here, these can be classified into entrepreneur, negotiator, resource allocator, and disturbance handler. Okay. Now, who is an entrepreneur? He seeks information. He seeks opportunities. Okay. Entrepreneur seeks opportunities. Basically, they search for change and respond to it and then exploit it. As a manager, you create and control change within the organization. Okay. This means solving problems, generating new ideas, and implementing them. Then, as a negotiator, he represents the organization at major negotiations. Okay. You may be needed to take part in and direct important negotiations within your team, department, or organization. Now, resource allocator, as name suggests, he makes or approves all significant decisions related to allocation of resources. Then, disturbance handler, again, as the name suggests, is responsible for corrective action when the organization faces disturbances. Okay, so how many do we have here? One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. These are the 10 roles of a manager. Okay, divided into three categories. Now we have skills of an effective manager. What are the skills of an effective manager? An effective manager must possess certain skills in the areas of like planning, organizing, leading, controlling, and all. So there was a person called Robert L. Katz, and he identified three basic types of skills. Okay, those were technical, human, and conceptual. Which are like, let us say, conceptual. Just give me a second. Let us take this one. Start with conceptual. Conceptual skills is the ability to visualize the organization as a whole. It includes analytical, creative, and initiative skills. It helps the managers to identify the causes of problems and not the symptoms. It helps him to solve the problems for the benefit of the entire organization. Conceptual skills are mostly required by the top level management, okay, because they spend more time in planning, organizing, and problem solving. Planning, organizing, and problem. Or let us see technique. Technical skills involve process or technical knowledge and proficiency necessary to carry out a specific task. Managers use the processes techniques, and tools of a specific area. Example, art surgeon, a pilot, an engineer, a writer, or a program writing computer programs, completing accounting statements, etc. Technical skills are usually obtained through training programs. Okay, training programs that an organization may offer its managers or employees, or may be obtained by way of a college degree. Technical skills is considered to be very crucial to the effectiveness of lower level managers. Here, it's about lower level because they are in direct contact with employees performing work activities within the firm. Okay, now human. Human skills involve ability to work, motivate, and direct individuals or groups in the organization, whether they are subordinates, peers, or superiors. Human skills therefore relate to individuals' expertise in interacting with others in a way that will enhance the successful completion of the task at hand. Example can be writing or speaking. Okay. Now, this skill is essential at every level of management within the organization, but it is particularly important at lower levels, specifically at lower, where the supervisor has frequent contact with operating personnel. Okay, so you can say it like this. Our it. This was our lower level, middle, and top level. Correct. Here you require technical skills as well as human. Here you require conceptual. Here again you require human. Human. Okay. Now there are other skills of managers as well, like analytical skills, administrative skills, computer communication skills, etc. Now let us understand the difference between management and administration. Management versus administration. We know like management is defined as the act of managing people and their work for achieving a common goal. Okay, by using the organization's resources. Why? Administration is a systematic process of administering the management of a business organization, an education institution like school or college, or any non-profit organization. Okay, management creates environment under which managers and his subordinates can work together for the attainment of a group objective. Okay, group objective. And here the main function is administration. mm, the main function of administration is the formation of plans, policies, procedures, and setting up goals and objectives, enforcing rules and regulations, etc. Okay. Administration lays down fundamental framework of an administration within which the management and the organization functions. So we have seen a slight difference between management and administration. But primarily, remember, management implements policies. It implements, whereas administration formulates policies. Okay? Management is done by both middle and lower level, middle plus lower level, while administration is done by top level authority. Okay? Like we see also main differences. Now, let us come to the important point, which is evolution of management. And in the evolution of management, we have five different theories, okay, or five different approaches. That is the correct one. First is classical, behavioral, quantitative, systems, contingency approach. Okay. Under classical approach, we have three theories. Okay, or three management we can say. First is scientific management. Here we have scientific management. This theory was given by Frederick Winslow Taylor. Second theory we have is administrative management. Okay, and third one we have is bureaucratic management. This administrative was given by Fair, Henry Fair, while bureaucratic management was given by Maxwell. Further, let me expand this now so that we will have everything at one place. Now, behavioral approach. It was given by Elton Mayo. Okay. Behavioral approach of management. Then quantitative approach. It has three subparts under it, which are like management science, which is also operation research. Okay. Then we have production and operations management. Operations management. Third one we have here is management information system. Okay. Management information system. It is also called CMIS approach. Another systems approach or system theory. It is based on the notion that organization can be visualized as systems. Okay. And we have contingency approach. This one. Now quickly, let us just see what are all these. Okay. Starting with classical approach. Classical approach is oldest approach, okay, and oldest formal approach of management. And three areas of study that can be grouped under classical approach are these three. And the scientific management, which was given by Frederick Winslow Taylor, is known as the father of scientific management. Scientific management is a theory of management that analyzes and synthesizes workflows with the objective of improving labor productivity. Okay. Four principles of scientific management are like science, not rule of thumb. Scientific selection of the worker, management and labor organization or labor cooperation rather than conflict, and scientific training of workers. Okay, these come under this particular scientific management. Okay, now we have administrative management. Administrative management focuses on the management processes and principles of management. Okay, in contrast to scientific management, which deals largely with jobs and work at the individual level of analysis. This particular administrative management provides a more general theory of management. Okay. Now, this administrative approach can be classified, or these activities can be systematized into six groups. And these can be like technical, financial, commercial, accounting, managerial, and security. Okay. Security is protection of assets and personnel. When we come to bureaucratic management, it focuses on the ideal form of organization. Okay. Now, this one, behavioral approach. This behavioral approach of management is thought developed in part because pursued weakness in the assumption of classical approach. The classical approach emphasized efficiency, process, and principles. Some felt that this emphasis disregarded important aspects of organizational life, particularly as it related to human behavior. Thus, the behavioral approach focused on trying to understand the factors that affect human behavior at work. Okay, now the quantitative approach. This approach involves the application of modern quantitative or mathematical techniques for solving managerial problems. This approach is also known as decision theory approach. Okay, this is also known as decision theory approach. Here, now its roots can be traced back to scientific management. So, the first subpart in this is management science, this one, which is also called as operation research. Management science uses mathematical and statistical approaches to solve management problems. This is something you should remember. It uses mathematical and statistical approaches. Okay. It developed during World War II as strategists tried to apply scientific knowledge and methods to the complex problems of war. Industry began to apply management science after the war. The advent of the computer made many management science tools and concepts more practical for industry. Okay, now production and operations. This approach focuses on the operation and control of production processes that transform resources into finished goods and services. Okay, then management information system, which is also called as MIS. MIS approach focuses on design and implementation of computer-based information systems for the management's use. It converts raw data into information inputs. What is it? Raw data to information inputs. Okay. And these inputs are subsequently used by the management for any decision making. Further, we are left with systems approach. As I told you earlier, that systems approach or systems theory is an approach based on notion that organizations can be visualized as a system. Okay. A system is a set of interrelated parts that organize, that operate as a whole in pursuit of common goals. Every system has four major components, which are input, transformation, outputs, and feedback. Okay. Now contingency approach. The contingency approach focuses on applying management principles and processes as dictated by unique characteristics of each situation. Right? The task of a manager as per this theory is to identify which technique will, in particular situation, under particular circumstances, and at a particular point of time, best contribute to achievement of organizational goals. It emphasizes that there is no one best way to manage and that it depends on various situational factors. Okay, remember this. No one best way. It is part of contingency approach. Now, There is one thing that I guess you should remember. That is Henry. Altogether different topic. Okay. Henry Fayol. 14 Principles of Management. Those are division of work, authority and responsibility, discipline, unity of command, unity of direction. Then we have emphasis on coordination, subcoordination. Sorry, emphasis on subordination of personal interest to general or common interest. Seventh one we have remuneration. Eighth is centralization. Ninth we can say scalar chain. Tenth is order. 11th is equity. Just remember these things. 12th is stability of tenure. 13th is spirit of cooperation. And 14th is initiative. So we are done with these things. Now let us move on to the planning part. What do you mean by planning? Planning is the most crucial and foremost function of management. Okay. It is defined as the process of setting goals and choosing the means to achieve those goals. So features of planning can be like planning is looking into the future. It involves predetermined lines of action. Planning is predetermined lines of action. Then it looks into future. It is a continuous process. It integrates various activities of an organization. Planning is done for a specific period. Okay, you can't keep on doing it for whatever period you want. It discovers the best alternatives out of available alternatives. Okay, planning is a mental activity. Then what all things I can you can remember it is its primary function. It is the primary function of management. Okay, if these things are enough. Now these were the features. Okay, these are the features. But what is the objective of planning? Objective is that it reduces uncertainty. Uncertainty is reduced. It brings coordination and cooperation in the organization. Then it helps to anticipate unpredictable contingencies, to reduce competition, and to increase organizational effectiveness. Okay, there are very advantages of planning. I can tell you a few of those. Those are like one sec, advantages. Better utilization of resources. Then it minimizes future uncertainties. It helps effective control. It improves competitive strength. More importantly, it reduces red tapeism. Okay. Then it encourages innovative thoughts, etc. Now, planning can be classified into various forms. Let us go through some of them. Okay. Planning can be classified as operational, tactical, strategic, and contingency. Operational plan, it is one that a manager uses to accomplish his or her job responsibilities. Okay. Operational plans can be divided into single-use plans. Let me write this on you for single-use plans. Then we have continuing or ongoing plan. It is also called a standing plan. Okay. Then we have tactical. Tactical is like these are plans which usually span 1 year or less than or equal to 1 year. Okay. It is concerned with the lower level units within each division must do, how they must do it, and who is in charge at lower level or each level. Okay. Now, strategic planning, it is the outline of steps designed with the goals of the entire organization in mind. Okay. It is strategic. Now, the contingency plan. It is intelligent and successful management depends upon a constant pursuit of adaptation, flexibility, and mastery of changing conditions. Strong management requires keeping all options open, approach at all times, and that's where contingency planning comes in. Okay. Now, planning process goes through a certain process. Okay. So, process and planning. How does it go? It is like setting objectives, then developing premises, then identifying alternative course of action, then select an alternative, then implement the plan and follow up action. Okay. Then let us look at decision making. Decision making is defined as the process by which different possible solutions or alternatives are identified and most feasible solution or course of action is finalized. Okay. Now relation between planning and decision making. They both are connected to each other. Okay. These are the most important aspects of management functions. Planning requires a series of decisions to be incorporated in advance. Series of decisions. Why? Decision making. The foundation of planning is decision making. Okay. The series of planning, a series of what did I say? It was series of decisions to be incorporated in advance. And the foundation of planning is decision making. Clear? है? Okay, clear. है. Now, now we have three phases in decision making. Three phases in decision. Those are intelligence phase. This is the first step in decision making. In this stage, the decision maker identifies the problem or opportunity. Second is design phase. Okay. Design is the process of designing a solution to a problem. And third is choice phase. This is the stage in which probabilities are compared against each other to find the most suitable solution. Okay. Now, group decision making techniques. What are the various techniques in group decision making? Those are like brainstorming, then we have Delphi technique. This technique is method of forecasting by collecting information from physically dispersed persons by means of a written questionnaire. In brainstorming, remember, it can be done in a group, okay? And here each attendee gets an opportunity to think as an individual and as a part of the group. Okay, that is one thing I wanted to tell here. In nominal group technique, here the group members think independently and each person comes up with their own ideas. Okay, this technique does not allow interactions among group members initially. Then we have quality circles. It is a small group of employees from the same department who volunteer to meet regularly to identify, analyze, and solve problems about the work. Hmm. Fifth is heuristic technique. Here decisions are made based on experience, rule of thumb, common sense, etc. Then we have fish blowing. In fish blowing, it is another variation of brainstorming, but is more structured and is to the point. Okay. Seventh one we have didactic interaction. In didactic interaction is applicable only in certain situations, but is an excellent method when such a situation. For example, the decision may be to buy or not to buy. The situation requires an extensive and exhaustive discussion and investigation. Since a wrong decision can have serious consequences of either of the two alternatives. The group requires to make the decision and split. into two groups, one favoring the go decision and the other favoring the no go decision. Okay. This interchange of ideas and tolerance and understanding of opposite viewpoints results in mutual acceptance of facts as facts they exist so that the solution can be built around these facts and such the final decision is reached. Now there are some individual decision making techniques like linear programming, decision tree, game theory. Okay. Game theory is a situation involving at least two people. Okay. Each person's decision is based on what he expects the other person to do. This is quite interesting. In decision tree, it is a diagram that shows all possible decisions alternatives. Okay. In linear programming, it is quantitative technique used to decide how to distribute limited resources for achieving objectives. Okay. Now here, fourth was queuing, queuing theory. This technique is used to find solutions to the waiting list problems in case of airline reservation, railway reservation, etc. Queuing theory helps to find the optimum number of services or service facilities required and their cost. Then we have network techniques. Managers use network techniques such as PERT, which is Program Evaluation Review Technique, and CPM, which is Critical Path Method for complex projects in which many activities have to be completed. Okay, now let us see what is organizing. Organizing. The process of organizing involves establishing an intentional structure of roles for the staff at all levels of hierarchy in the organization. Okay, so steps in organizing are the logical sequence of steps in organizing. Those are like establishing objectives, designing plans and policies, identifying specific activities, grouping activities according to available resources, then delegating the authority necessary to perform the activities, and in the end, tying the groups together through authority relationship and communication. Okay, and this organization can be classified as formal and informal. Formal is an organizational structure which clearly defines the duties, responsibilities, authority, and relationship as prescribed by the top management. While informal relationship establishes relationship on the basis of likes and dislikes of officers without considering rules, regulations, and procedures. Okay, then we have organizational structure. Let us see what other types of organizational structure. Okay, first is line organization. Line organization is simplest and oldest form of organization structure. It is also called as military or departmental or scalar type of organization. Under this system, authority flows directly and vertically from the top of the managerial hierarchy down to different levels of managers and subordinates. and down to the operative levels of all workers, like you can say president, vice president, plant manager, okay, and then there are some people under him. That's how it is. Then we have further line and staff organization. Line and staff. In this type of organization structure, what happens is it is in large enterprises, okay, and the functional specialties are added to the line, inline, and staff information. Mere staff is basically advisory in nature and usually does not possess any command authority over line managers. Okay, now we have functional organization. We are done with it. We have product organization, project organization. So project organization, these organization structures are temporarily formed for specific projects for a specific time period for the project of achieving the goal of developing new product. The specialties from different functional departments such as production, engineering, quality control, and market research, etc., will be drawn to work together. Okay, this is done. Then we have matrix organization. Here, any organization that employs a multiple command system that includes not only the multiple command structure, but also related support mechanism and an associated organizational culture and behavior pattern. Okay. It is also referred to as multiple command system. Okay. It is matrix is multiple commands. Once this is done, let us move on to principles of organizational structure. Principles of organizational or organization structure. Those can be like line and staff relationship. Line authority refers to scalar chain. Okay. Now departmentalization. B can be departmentalization. It is a process of horizontal clustering, okay, of different types of functions and activities. Then centralization and decentralization. We are aware of it. What is centralization? It is like concentrating power at one point at we can say top level management. While decentralization, here power can be up to lower management level. Okay. Then here we have span of control. Span of management or span of control is number of people managed efficiently by a single officer in an organization. Okay. Then we have delegation of authority. Delegation is giving your work to someone else, okay, or appoint on behalf of you. So it is the power. What is it? It is the power to make decisions which guide the actions of others. In other words, in order to finish the work in time, there is a need to delegate authority and follow the principles of division of labor. Okay. Now we are done with all these things. Let us see what is staffing. Staffing may be defined as a process of recruiting and equipping the people to handle various positions and perform assigned tasks in line with the structure and the overall goals of the organization. Staffing process. Now, what is the process in staffing? Okay, here it is like first identification of areas of specialization to match the nature and mandate of the organization. Once you identify, then you have to estimate. Estimation of the future manpower requirement. Now you have the requirement of manpower, then you do recruitment. Okay. Once you do recruitment, then you will have to do selection and placement of those recruited people, correct? So it is selection and placement. Once this is done, they will be working. You will have to give performance appraisal and constantly will have to evolve. So we will do placing and training. Okay.